everyone, welcome to the channel. I'm DC. So today I thought I'd do a reaction to an interview that RFK Jr. has just done on Fox News. He is basically exposing, well, doing a big wake-up call, I think, for most Americans, I would say, and hopefully the world, on the dangers of seed oils and other food ingredients. And is also talking about the corruption of the FDA and the people behind the food pyramid. These are things that we all been talking about for a while, but it's great to see RFK bringing this out into mainstream media, for one. And yeah, as he has recently joined or endorsed the Trump campaign, and maybe he will be getting behind the Trump campaign to change the food industry. So let's have a look at what he said.
Number of key issues, and that includes the American diet and what's in our food.
I also want to salute Bobby's decades of work as an advocate for the health of our families and our children. Nobody's done more.
We talked about, not about the things that separate us because we don't agree on everything, but on the values and the issues that bind us together. And one of the issues that he talked about was having safe food and ending the chronic disease epidemic. And don't you want a president that's going to make America healthy again?
Before his announcement, I spoke with Kennedy about this very topic and a potential position in the Trump White House. Take a look. I thought it'd be great to just kind of look at some of these items because parents are encountering these food items in grocery stores everywhere. Maybe we could just start right here with seed oils. We're hearing a lot about seed oils. Why should people be worried about these kind of products?
Seed oils are one of the most unhealthy ingredients that we have in.
Okay, now I don't care what your politics are, but you know, the food industry is something that we should all agree on, and I'm not big on these food wars either, whether you're carnivore or vegetarian, vegan or whatever. I don't care. The fact is, we have a God-given right to have clean, healthy food and water. All right, and this is something that's been taken away from all of us. And while people are fighting over what we should be eating for better health, sort of thing, they poison everything. Okay. Now, seed oils are particularly toxic, and they are in absolutely everything, and they are so heavily subsidized because, you know, so you're actually paying for it in your taxes, right? Including so-called health foods. This is something I talk about the fitness industry a lot. Okay, all your so-called fitness and healthy foods like these processed protein bars and protein powders and things like that are full of seed oils. Okay, but let's see what RFK says on the Fox channel here.
Foods and seed oils, the reason they're in the foods is because they're heavily subsidized. They're very, very cheap, but they are associated with all kinds of very, very serious illnesses, including body-wide inflammation.
Right. Which
affects all of our health. It's one of the worst things you can eat, and it's almost impossible to avoid. If you eat any processed food, you're going to be eating seed oil.
Right, and it's interesting, the government subsidizes it. Why would the government want to subsidize something that's going to make people sick, and then in the end, we all end up paying for that in terms of healthcare costs, which are skyrocketing?
Yeah, because
yeah, we all end up paying for that. Now, she's saying that the government subsidizes it, but let me tell you, the government doesn't subsidize anything. Okay, it's taxpayers that subsidize these things, right? And the government is spending your money, all right, to subsidize these foods, these toxic chemicals in our food, and then we end up paying for it because we end up subsidizing, of course, pharmaceutical companies and buying their products, you know, to try and fix the problems that they cause.
That is a direct result of corruption. About 75% of FDA's budget comes from regulated industry, and that means food processors and pharmaceutical industry. All of them profit from a sick population.
You know, a big item that, and by the way, it's getting very expensive, are cereals. Why is the food coloring in particular bad?
Food coloring, you see here yellow food coloring, that is a petroleum product. Mm-hmm. It's associated with really, with depression. It's associated with autoimmune injuries and ADHD.
Yeah.
These, and red dye also is very bad. In Europe, the same companies are producing the same products, but they're using natural coloring. But here they can get away with it. We have about almost 1,000 chemicals that are in our food that are either outright banned in Europe or actively discouraged. So you wouldn't be able to buy this kind of stuff in Europe. You ask about why it's so cheap, why it's so ubiquitous. It's because we subsidize the worst foods. We subsidize it with about 70% of our food stamp program is to process foods, which are all poison.
Right. One of the things that's interesting is you'll see on labels natural flavors, which is this catch-all phrase that I guess was lobbied for, but the ingredients in natural flavors are not really natural.
No. In our country, natural flavors are chemical products. So you can't trust what's on the ingredient.
See, this is something I've been telling you for a while now too, is when they say natural flavors, okay, it's a play on words. What they mean is it tastes like a natural flavor, but they use chemicals to make that flavor. All right. So also these chemicals in colorings and these flavors are all petroleum based. Okay, these are toxic petroleum based chemicals and they use the same methods to make these so-called vitamins and things like that as well in some products. So when they tell you it's natural flavors or natural colorings and things like that, it resembles, okay, it basically what it means is that it tastes like a natural flavor. It resembles a natural color, but they use chemicals to make it. All right. It's a play on words because they don't want you to know. And if they don't want you to know what's in it, then it's not something you should be eating.
Ingredient label, and the reason for that again is government corruption. It's that the agency, the USDA, the FDA, have been captured by the industries they're supposed to regulate, and they all have an interest in subsidies and then in mass poisoning the American public.
Yeah, I want to talk about pesticides, and then let's talk about the policy. So let's talk about the pesticides and the things that worry you about. I mean, this looks like fresh food, right? What should I be worried about here?
Yeah, I mean, the irony is, like, for example, my wife loves kale, and she had the impression that kale is actually good for you. If it's organic, it's very good for you. But most kale and strawberries, for example, grapes, are contaminated with pesticides. And particularly the Environmental Working Group has found what they call the dirty dozens.
Okay. Yeah, so what he's talking about is like these corporate farms that are just absolutely smothered in chemicals, the soil, what they grow in, even the artificial fertilizers and things like that. Instead of using ruminant animals to give us our topsoil, they're using man-made chemical topsoils. That's just for a start. And then what they spray on top of it. These fruit and vegetables that you buy in the store are absolutely toxic. They are rancid with these things. And the fact that you can buy them year round is another problem as well. Like I said, it doesn't matter what you think we should be eating. They are poisoning all our food supply. All right. And I don't care really what you choose to eat. But these are the things that we have to deal with. And, this also runs off into our water supply and all sorts of things. Now, I've also got many videos on this talking about these seed oils, and so we'll go, just go through it. I'll put some links into some good for some good videos to watch on this in the description. But this continues, so let's have a look.
Some of the worst pesticides on these products. So you know, I look at a strawberry and I think, oh, this is a healthy food.
Right.
But in most cases, unless it's organic, certified organic, you are getting something that's actually hurting you.
What can be done at a government level to stop this and make people get healthy?
Yeah, as president, I'll issue an executive order.
Like when he says, like, if there's a certified organic, again, you know, these certified organic sort of companies, these are big corporations that a lot of them are doing as well. So don't trust the labels. I think the best thing you can do is really make sure you know the source of these foods. Okay, so make sure, like, if you can buy from a farmer, like a local farmer, it's always the best. When you buy from a local farmer, it doesn't matter what food you are eating. You are supporting your local farmers, for one, which means that you're supporting your local economy. All right, and you're also supporting the health of your local area. All right. So there's three good reasons. Plus, you're also supporting the environment, okay, the environment around you, okay, when you are supporting your local farmer. So there's four very good reasons why to buy local, and make sure you can, and try and get it as direct as you can. I know that's very difficult for many people, but, you know, you can also grow yourself as well.
On day one, that anybody who is recommending food products in USDA or FDA, at any of those committees, if you are going to be on those committees, you have to have no conflict of interest. We spend 5 times our military budget on chronic disease.
Yeah.
And it's made us the sickest population in the world. And if you wonder why we're the sickest people in the world, why do we have these epidemics of ADHD and depression and all these kind of psychiatric illnesses that have been linked by the science to these kind of foods, to the ingredients of these foods? And why do we have these neurological disorders? All this.
So now he's talking about the American budget. 5 times the military budget gets spent on health because of these disgusting foods, these processed and chemical-ridden foods. Now, I recently did a video. I was talking to Dr. Robert Lufkin, who authored the book Lies I Taught in Medical School, and I mean, many others that I've spoken to. If you have a look through the channel, by 2030, I think it is, there's like $35 trillion or something spent on healthcare around the world. And, you know, every country, every Western country, like Australia and America, is the same. It is just hemorrhaging money on the healthcare system. And the more money we spend on healthcare, the more disease we get. Why is that? The more money, and just this also comes with raising money for charities, for example, so-called charities. The more money they raise for cancer, for example, the more money they raise for heart disease, the more money they raise for diabetes, the more disease we get, the more cancer we get, the more heart disease, and the more diabetes we get. All right?
Epidemic of autoimmune disease.
So many of these products are geared towards children, which I think is what's really tragic about it. It's sort of like you're putting them at a very early age on this pathway to chronic disease, and then
some of this is geared towards children. All of it is. All of this is geared towards children. Look at Cerule, you know, the cartoon characters, and you got these sports stars, athletes, and musicians, and movie stars all saying, "Oh, look, I eat this garbage," when they don't, because they just, you know, promote it because they get paid to. All right, and this has been going on for so long. Like when I was a kid, you know, Milo, for example, owned by Nestle, is basically a chemical-ridden drink that they labeled as a health food. And it's supposed to be high in protein. It's all chemical protein, okay? It's all chemical vitamins and minerals and things like that, and colorings and flavorings that are petroleum-based and all sorts of stuff. And we've all seen it. We've all gone through it throughout our childhood. It's just getting worse and worse. And finally, people are waking up. I think it's fantastic, a fantastic move that RFK has been speaking about this. He has. He also runs the Children's Defense League website. It's a good website. You guys should check it out. But it's great. I think it's a good positive move. I don't care what your politics is, where your sort of allegiances lie, but for the health of humanity, the health of people in general, and your children, I think it's a great move. Hopefully that, and I think RFK is a very honest man, and I think he'll be doing something positive for the future of the food industry, hopefully. All right, guys, so I'll leave some links in the description, some videos that I'll talk about this stuff as well. Yeah, hopefully a positive step for the future, and looking good. I'll see you soon, guys. Have a great day.